Hi everybody, my name is Katrina Gray and you're listening to the Brett Cooney's podcast show, and that's the place where you can listen to all the cool podcasts. Enjoy!
All right, BradCooney.com would like to welcome in from season 15 of The Voice, Mr. Michael Lee. What is up, Michael?
Hey, man. Thanks for having me.
Hey, man. Honored to have you on board. First and foremost, congrats on a great blind audition, man. Talk about the blind audition a little bit.
Yeah, it was the most nerve-wracking experience of my life, I think, to date. It was pretty wild. Just going out there and being able to sing in front of those celebrities and that crowd, and it was a blast. I'm lucky that I had one chair turnaround, much less, three.
Right. Now, you know what? How was it to sing in front of, like you said, I mean, the judges are all legends, and their backs are turned to you, and it's dark, and you know there's a crowd, and you know millions of people are going to be watching it. Like, how did that, I mean, kind of paint a picture for us, man? Like, how did you deal with all that?
Yeah, so walking out there, it was pretty nerve-wracking, but, it's dead silent and there on the stage, everybody, the audience. I mean, there's quite a few people there, and then as soon as I played that first note on guitar, and I hear it kind of ring against in that warehouse, in that studio, just reverberate off the walls. Like I felt right at home. All the nerves went away, and just went for it. Went for broke, and it was wild, man.
Yeah, man, I can imagine. And a lot of the singers that I've interviewed from The Voice, this is my 7th season interviewing The Voice singers, have a similar account of what happens, is because most of them are performers and been performing for a while, so they're right in their wheelhouse once they start singing or playing.
Yeah, like you said, that's a perfect way to put it. It's something that I've practiced and worked my entire life up to that point. If you would have had me go on there and start dancing around, I may have been a little bit nervous during the performance. But just playing music, especially playing blues music, that's what I've done my entire life. So I felt right at home.
And of course, you mentioned blues. You sang "Thrills Gone," of course, a B.B. King classic. No pressure there. I mean, trying to to sing something as a B.B. King song.
Those are big shoes to fill.
Yeah. A side note: B.B. King's actually laid to rest just maybe an hour from my house. I live in Mississippi.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Good stuff. All right. So.
He's a big influence.
Go ahead. Finish your thought, buddy.
Yeah, B.B. King, he's a big influence on me. I've listened to his music ever since I can remember. 4 years old, 5 years old, I went out and went to one of his concerts when I was really young, and I knew who B.B. was. It wasn't just like I was tagging along with my parents. I wanted to go see B.B. King, and there's something special about him and the life that he led, playing tons of shows every year, and just the impact that he had on everyone.
Of course, he came up in Mississippi and went through the civil rights movement, and God, I'd love to be able to sit down. I mean, God rest his soul, he's passed, he's left us, but wouldn't it be great to sit down for a couple hours and just listen to that guy tell stories?
Man, I would die. That would have made me super, super happy. I've read his autobiography, watched that documentary that they have on him. I think it's Life of Riley.
Yes.
It's just amazing to see that he was raised on a plantation.
That's right.
It's crazy to me, and what he had to go through his whole life to get to where he was. It's just amazing that anybody can come up out of such hard times.
Absolutely. Well said, man. Was there a lot of thought behind the choice of "Thrills Gone"? Because of course there's a million great blues songs to pick from, and a lot of great B.B. King songs. What was it about that song that you wanted to do for the blind audition?
I really like the "Thrills Gone." That was his biggest hit, and it doesn't strictly go to the normal 12-bar blues chord format. It's got an extra chord in there.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that. And I just, from the get-go, I kind of had that idea of me starting the song off, from the turnaround,
Mm-hmm.
and then kind of adding into this, and letting it lead in with the band. It just, it's kind of just, it's such a good song, and I think it's one of the blues songs that kind of can cross over to all genres and all people. They can all relate with the message, but they've also all heard that song before.
And you mentioned the band. I always like to give a shout out to the Voice Band. Those guys are freaking amazing.
They're killers, man. They're amazing.
Yep, they really are. All right, so when you started singing, of course, Adam was the first guy to spin, to turn his chair, and then followed by Jennifer, and then Blake ultimately. And so, what was going through your mind when you got the first chair turn? Was there were you really focused on the song, or did you notice Adam spin around and some of that weight came off your chest?
Well, I saw him turn around, and I consciously made an effort to look away,
Mm-hmm.
because I knew I was just going to start grinning from ear to ear. I was going to forget to finish the song. So, when he turned around, I was like, finish the song. Let's just see how many you can get now. Because my idea of going in, especially with the scatting and the guitar work and stuff like that, I had a feeling that, as long as Adam knows guitar players, and he normally turns around guys that are playing guitar. So it was a conscious effort to kind of throw in some of those things to try to get him to turn around. But and I would have loved to go with Adam. But it was just exciting to get one chair turn, because it just means the world to me and my wife. And for that moment, everything to work up to that moment and actually get that payoff, that reward of that chair turning around and seeing him grooving and smile, he was really into it, and that was really cool. And then that was what was going through my head whenever Adam turned around.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yep. And Adam picked up that you were playing guitar too while he had his back turned to you. I don't know if you saw the video of your blind audition, but he picked up on that quick.
Yeah, I have a friend that was also on The Voice a few seasons ago, Matt Tedder.
Oh yeah, I remember him. Yep.
Yeah. Me and him are really good friends around Fort Worth, and I remember watching his audition from the couch, and he did like a slide guitar scat thing with his vocals and stuff, and that's when I think Adam figured out that he was playing guitar and doing that work. So I was like, I kind of discussed his game plan with Matt a little bit on doing a little line on the guitar and also singing that line at the same time. Because it's really hard. They can't see you, they can't see any of that stuff, so they have to guess. And there's a great guitar player in the band.
That's right.
So the only way I think that he would know is if I was singing along with the line that didn't sound organized. It didn't sound planned or rehearsed.
Plus, Adam's a great guitar player himself, and he's just kind of dialed into that kind of thing,
Yeah, he's a great guitar player. I was just watching his. He did a cover of Purple Rain not too long ago.
Was that with Bruno Mars? Was that with Bruno Mars?
I can't remember if it was that or. He sounded amazing.
I think it was. I think I saw a video. No, that's what I'm about to say, because I was shocked because I saw Adam Levine do a tribute to Prince, Purple Rain, and Bruno Mars got up there with his guitar, and they both were jamming. I was like, wow, I had no clue that Bruno can play that good, because he was hanging right in there.
Oh, Bruno's a freak of nature, man.
He is.
He plays everything right, sings, produces.
Yeah.
That dude's a powerhouse. I would love to jam with him or Adam any day. That would be a blast.
And Bruno does not lip sync also, which is awesome.
Right, he does everything because he's a singer, man.
Yeah,
he
exactly.
He can go up there and kill it.
Exactly.
Even on an off night, he still sounds great.
Yeah, he's tremendously talented. So usually it's not a good thing when people throw stuff at you, but when Jennifer throws her shoe at you, you're in good shape.
Fun little story. Back in my hometown, Fort Worth, I used to run like a blues jam on Sunday nights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And this was probably 7 years ago, 8 years ago, and what we would do is if somebody was just, I don't know where it came from, where it started, but if somebody was just singing, like just really, really singing, or playing a great guitar solo or something, you know, just going off, we would all start throwing our boots up onto the stage.
Really?
So, and by the end of the song, you know, like, it would look like a Payless shoe store out there. You know, like, and it'd be great, and it was such a fun time, and so whenever she threw that, like, I felt right at home.
Yeah.
I was like, I know exactly what that means, and it was just really cool to kind of get that, and also, you know, it just brought back some really positive memories for me.
Sure, that's a great story, man. I appreciate you sharing that. All right, so you picked Blake, and you know, the thing is, you can't go wrong with any coach up there. I mean, no matter who picks what. If you have choices, I mean, you go with what your gut tells you to do, but you really can't go wrong by picking any of them. But you went with Blake. So, did any of the other judges that turned have a shot, or were you set on Blake if he turned?
The one coach that I really, really wanted to go with was Kelly Clarkson.
Oh wow, awesome. Okay.
It was gonna be easy choice for me because she's from Burleson, Texas, which is 10 minutes away from Fort Worth. And I was just gonna keep it all in the family, you know, all Texas and Fort Worth, and that would make my decision really easy because you know, Fort Worth is such an interesting place because you get all the soul blues and then also the country and western all kind of blend together, and Kelly knows that better than everybody or anybody. And so I think she would have been a really, really good fit for me. But whenever she didn't turn around, it was really just kind of open game. Whenever it was the other three, and I went with Blake because he's more laid back. I've watched the show quite a bit. Especially whenever I've had friends on the show like Austin Alsup and Luke Wade and Matt Tedder, you know, so I kind of know at least Adam and Blake's tendencies.
Yep.
So what I really always enjoyed about Blake and his style of coaching is that he doesn't really get bogged down in the details too much. He doesn't. He's more like a big picture kind of guy, and wants to make sure you get that right path, and he doesn't steer you out of your lane too much and let you be you and try to change you hardly at all. So me being 30 and doing this for 10 plus years, I know like what my thing is, and he sees that, and I just knew that he's not going to treat me wrong, or you know, he's going to do me right.
You know, you made some solid, really strong points there. And the thing about this show, it is a competition, and song selection is just massively important. And Blake is fantastic at making sure his team doesn't get into a song that doesn't, you know, or that they can't knock out of the park.
Right. Yeah, Blake's great with that.
Yeah, man.
Or at least from what I've watched. So what kind of song do you think I should go with? If, you know, for
you know, I think Stevie Ray. Are you asking me, or are you telling me what Blake says to you?
I'm asking you a question.
Great.
Like what kind of music would you see me singing?
Oh, I think Stevie Ray Vaughan would be brilliant for you because you play guitar, plus you have that voice. So I think like Stevie Ray would be great. She's a million different blues. You could probably do Ray Charles stuff too if you wanted to.
Oh man, Ray so.
Yeah, man. I mean, Muddy Waters. I mean, the thing is, you know, this competition is all about getting votes too. So you have to play that into consideration. Like how many of the you know, if they do the votes through Twitter and through social media like they've done in other seasons, you got to get people to vote for you. So how many people out there of younger, you know, the younger age are going to know Muddy Waters stuff or Stevie Ray Vaughan? So a lot of thought process that goes into it. You know what I mean? It's not just a matter of what you can sing great. You have to get those votes too. That's free advice. I gave you some free advice, my brother.
I agree. I appreciate it, man.
All right. So, how's the reaction been back home at the hometown since you were all over America's TVs?
My city of Fort Worth has just been amazing. recorded. My phone finally stopped just going off every 30 seconds.
Yeah.
About 4 or 5 days into it. Yeah, it's been wild. And then the YouTube videos views is, last I checked, is at like 1.9.
Yeah, it's knocking on 2 million, man. You're right at like 2 million, close to it.
It's just wild, man. And I'm so lucky being, I keep harping on Fort Worth, but I'm really, really proud of that city and what they're doing. They've got initiatives now. I was just at a meeting last night. They have initiatives to help artists, you know, with touring and helping them with, you know, getting them signed and recording. And the studio in town that actually did all of Leon Bridges' stuff.
Oh, wow.
And so they're just partnering with them and just trying to make everybody realize that Fort Worth is a music city, and they're trying to limit the migration to Nashville and LA, and they're just trying to keep people home. So it's wild, man. So I had that support from the mayor, had the support from you know, the tourism department and all that stuff. It's just been crazy, man. It's been wonderful.
Look, real quick, back when I used to live in New Braunfels, Texas. I lived in Texas for 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know, you're just right there in the hill country, just north of San Antonio. Back in the 90s, there was a guy named Ian Moore who played Austin 6th Street, man. That guy he's a freaking god guitar player in blues. But then he switched genres. He went towards a folk. He moved out to Seattle and really focused on a folk music career, which is great. But I loved his stuff back in the 90s when he was doing that blues rock stuff he was doing.
Yeah. He's back to doing that blues rock stuff now.
Oh, really? That's fantastic, man.
He's a huge influence on me, and that would be something that, even though I don't know how many the younger generation would recognize some of his songs, but like "Satisfied" is one.
Satisfied, or you know what? If you want to do a slower song, what about "Blue Sky"?
Oh, Blue Sky's great.
It's like that's one of my favorite Ian Moore songs. Yeah, so there you go. There's an idea.
That's such a good song.
It really is.
I got to open up for him a couple years back, and he was one of the most genuine, nicest people I think I've ever met in my life. There was like a line of like 200 people just trying to say hi to him after the show, and he spent like 5 to 7 minutes with each single person. Yeah,
very down-to-earth guy. And his shows back, I used to see him on 6th Street in Austin, and he would put on like 2.5, 3-hour shows, dude. And then he would take pictures with, you know, with fans and autographs. He was so cool. So good dude.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yes, sir. So how long have you been playing? I got two more questions. I'm going to let you go because we're running up about 20 minutes. How long have you been playing guitar, man? Because you're like really good.
I've been playing guitar since I was 12. I'm 30 now.
Yeah.
So I guess 18 years. And, you know, my main influence was Stevie Ray and B.B. King and Robert Cray and, you know, later on, you know, Derek Trucks and Gary Clark Jr. and all those guys. But yeah, I've been playing guitar for a long time. I started singing only like about when I was 20 or 21.
That's fantastic, man. Another guy I like is Johnny Lang.
Oh yeah, he's great.
And that's another guy right up your genre. All right, so last thing I got for you, man, then I'll let you tell everybody where they can follow you on your social media. But what's some advice you can share to somebody listening to this podcast that's thinking about trying out for a future season on The Boys? What's some advice you can tell them?
Make sure, I don't know, I would do it. I would try out. You never know what's gonna, you know, never know what's gonna happen. I did it on a whim. Me and my wife, we were down in, you know, Houston, and we were just kind of made a little date out of the weekend, and then just auditioned, and we're like, let's just see what happens. So you never know what's gonna happen. My advice would be to sing what's really on your heart and soul. You know, do what you're really most passionate with, and that's going to come across.
That's great advice, man. Just go for it, man. All right, man. So I really appreciate you doing this, man. I wish you the best of luck going forward. Hopefully we can get you back on later on in the season and to do a follow-up. And before I let you go, I want to give you a chance to tell everybody out there listening where they can follow you. It's going to be important when vote comes on your social media and things like that.
My social media, Twitter is, and they're all pretty much the same, but it's at Michael Lee FW. FW is for Fort Worth. That's for Twitter and Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. You can also find me at michaellevine.com.